Hi everyone, and this is a video about some of the recent set photos we've had for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel coming up. I've already got a video that talks a lot about the news that we've had so far, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and click here or on the link in the description. But this video specifically is going to be talking about recent set photos of the new Rocksteady and Bebop, the new Shredder, the new Karai, and the new Foot Soldiers that we're going to be getting. So with that said, let's just go right into the photos here. So first off, we've learned that Bebop is going to be played by Gary Anthony Williams, and Rocksteady is going to be played by the WWE wrestler Sheamus. As far as casting goes, it's not like necessarily super exciting news, but as far as the look goes, like the pictures, these are pretty exciting. They nailed the look of Rocksteady and Bebop, and so it's kind of exciting to see that. I'm curious as to how they'll fit them into the story, and especially I'm curious at what point they'll transform them into mutants. I kind of get the feeling that it's going to be most of the movie as humans, and towards the end, like in the third act, they'll be transformed, and in the final battle, they'll be the big, huge mutants. But I guess we'll see about that. So hopefully they turn out to be what we've all been hoping for. The other ones that we've got is, it's nice to see that now we have some foot soldiers, some actual ninja foot soldiers, instead of just a bunch of machine gun toting mercenaries. You know, at first, when I heard about the machine gun foot soldiers of the first movie, I thought, okay, well, that could make sense, you know, trying to update it. But the more I thought about it, the more I missed the ninjas, and they're more interesting and more in tune with what the Ninja Turtles is really all about. So the fact that they will be having real ninja foot soldiers is super exciting for me. Which leads us into Shredder and Karai. So now we've also found out that Karai has also been recast, and they're describing her as Shredder's daughter. I don't know if this is just supposed to be a completely separate character named Karai, or if they're kind of transforming her a little bit between the movies, because it's not just like they're getting a new actress. It's, you know, Shredder and Karai are both very noticeably younger actors, and the fact that now that Karai is supposed to be Shredder's daughter makes her even seem even much younger than the Karai that we had in the first movie. So I kind of get the feeling that we're just kind of moving forward. They might not even worry about explaining why everything's so different, but I think there might be some ways they can do it. But it's just cool that we'll have a new Karai, and probably as evidence that she'll have a better part and maybe some more action for herself, because she was just kind of there in the first movie. She didn't really do much. As far as Shredder goes, I like the look of this Shredder. I'm digging the black costume. I'm guessing that this isn't like a fully costumed Shredder. It might, you know, at certain parts in the movie, he'll don kind of a more full Shredder armored costume. But he does have these sort of mechanical braces on his forearms. So the fact that they look kind of mechanical makes me think that maybe he's got some retractable blades that can shoot out of those or something. But again, he does look drastically different from the last Shredder. I mean, he's got the traditional costume instead of the robotic armor, and he's got a full facial hair and a full head of hair. And he looks quite younger, and his face looks a little less scarred. That makes me wonder a little bit about how and if they're going to explain the difference between these characters. I've actually been thinking what they could do is, and if you go back and watch the last movie, you'll notice that they never ever say the name Orokusaki in the entire movie, and that the Shredder is only ever called Shredder or Master. And so I'm thinking they could play it a certain way where they explain that wasn't Orokusaki, and then we'll find out that was actually Orokunagi. And if you know from the comic book story, the original comic book, Orokunagi was Orokusaki's older brother, and he was the one who was jealous of Hamato Yoshi and his lover. And since he couldn't have her, he ended up attacking her, and Hamato Yoshi then defended her and killed Orokunagi, which is what set Shredder or Orokusaki on a path of revenge, and he tracked them down to New York City and killed both of them. So if we make it so that the last movie Shredder is actually Orokunagi, and that he actually died at the end when he fell off the building, now we have a reason to have a completely different Shredder. And now this is Orokusaki coming in, and he's mad about the death of his brother. He blames the Ninja Turtles. And it also would explain why he's so different, why he has ninja foot warriors, and why he's more traditional and not with all the robotic stuff. And I even think they could go so far as to say that he is the leader of the True Foot Clan, and that this other Foot Clan that was just a bunch of gun-toting mercenaries and Eric Sachs, they were kind of a rogue break-off of the Foot. Perhaps Orokunagi didn't like the way the Foot was doing things. That was one of my biggest beefs of the first movie, is that they gave Shredder this idea that he wanted the Foot to be known to the world, and that's why he was going to unleash this biochemical weapon, and that the world isn't going to just reduce them to a myth or a legend. But it's kind of stupid, because they're ninjas, and that's their whole point, is that they work in the shadows and they want to be a secret. They want people to think that they're just a legend while they take over from the shadows. So maybe now we can have a Shredder who is the real Shredder, and he's Orokusaki, and he's more traditional, and he works in the shadows, and he's in charge of the actual Foot Clan. We find out that this other Shredder was a rogue from the Foot Clan who decided to break off and form his own little foot of mercenaries with guns, and funded by Eric Sachs, and perhaps they stole some mutagen unbeknownst to Shredder and the other Foot from TCRI, which I think could be a front for the real Foot Clan. But so with that said, I think that would be a way they could work it. And then as far as Karai goes, I know that Karai, her name is actually mentioned in the last movie, so you can't just say, oh, that wasn't Karai, but perhaps you could explain it as that's a different Karai, and maybe she's even a family member or a close friend of Orokusaki and Orokunagi, and that's why Orokusaki named his daughter Karai as well. Something like that, and just say that they're separate characters. The other thing I was thinking about is, of course, we've had lots of rumors about Krang being in it, and it only makes sense if you think even back to the Blue Door script that they had with the Alien Ninja Turtles, which I'm so glad they never did, but it's obvious that the route that they were going was like total Aliens Dimension X craziness. And so I think they always had a plan to bring Krang in. So I think, yeah, it's inevitable that we'll be getting Krang. As far as how they're going to introduce him, I'm a little curious. What I would like to see is kind of an amalgamation of the different stories that we've had of Krang, or evil Utroms and things that were inspired by Krang. It's kind of a mix of the Utroms from the comics, Krang from the 80s cartoon, and then the Utrom Shredder from the 2003 cartoon. And so how I think they should work it is that Krang is an Utrom, and Utroms are traditionally a very peaceful race, but he is the exception. He is an evil, conquering criminal, and so he's been exiled or something from his home world, and now he's made his way to Dimension X, and from Dimension X he made his way to Earth, and came to Earth during feudal Japan times, and was kind of got stuck here, and so all he had was his exosuit and maybe a little bit of his technology he brought with him. I think it would be great if they incorporated it with Eric Sachs' story and made him either the warlord or the alchemist from Eric Sachs' little story from the last movie. And then, so he establishes the Foot Clan, and because he has an extra long lifespan, he's just been hanging out on Earth this whole time, waiting for our technology to be advanced enough for him to harness it to do his evil plans and open a portal to Dimension X and all that stuff. And so he forms the Foot, and as time goes on, then the Foot also develops the front company of TCRI, which is run by Krang, and he develops all this technology, including the mutagen and all this stuff. But so anyway, yeah, so that's how we would incorporate it. So I think that'd be a great way to work it, having Krang being the guy that landed in feudal Japan and creating the Foot Clan, because that would pay tribute to a lot of the different versions of the Foot Clan origin. And several different origins, it usually involves a time traveler inspiring the creation of the Foot, or in the 2003 cartoon it was created by an evil Utrom, just like Krang, who landed in feudal Japan and created this persona of the Shredder and created the Foot Clan. Not only that, then having TCRI being founded by Krang also pays tribute to the comic books and how TCRI was a front company for these Utroms that were hiding out on Earth. And it would be a perfect way to introduce Baxter Stockman as a scientist working in TCRI. And then he's the one who ends up probably creating Rocksteady and Bebop. So, and I think that would work great. As far as my theories about last movie Shredder and this movie Shredder, it's probably kind of a stretch that they do something like Orokunagi, but I personally think that would be kind of a cool way to do it. That would kind of separate the crappy Shredder we got last time with this new, seemingly more authentic Shredder that we're going to get in this next movie. So, but what do you guys think of the pictures and of the look of the characters? Are you excited about getting ninjas back and about getting Rocksteady and Bebop finally? What do you guys think of the ideas for how Krang could be incorporated? And just let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, go ahead and click like. And if you like this video, go ahead and check out my last one I did. Or you can also check out this video of a theory I have about how Eric Sachs is actually a symbol of Michael Bay himself. Okay, that's it. See you later.